25 years ago or so, I was fortunate enough to be asked to go on a tour that visited a big collector in Cincinnati. And he had a house. He was an engineer. He loved antique cars. He had amazing cars. And in his house, he had 25 or 30 cars spread throughout his house. He had a Mercer Raceabout in his bathroom. He had Duesenbergs in his living room. And I was invited to come along with a couple guys. They were going to visit him and see his cars. And as we were walking through the collection, and I was completely flabbergasted with what he had, this car sat over in a corner. And I was a Packard guy. I'd fallen in love with Packards. And this car just caught my fancy. I just instantly fell in love with it.
In actuality, the first old car I bought was a LaSalle, and I really fell in love with the name. You know, this is what, it sounds like a name out of the past. It sounds like an old car, and I love to jump in the car and get behind the steering wheel and make off so I was driving, you know. And since I was a kid, I just loved, when my father would buy me a bike, the first thing I'd do was take it in the basement and take it apart.
You know, people say, well, isn't that hard to drive? These cars were made to drive, you know, by people like us, and believe it or not, they're relatively easy to drive. It's amazing the performance they had back then. Sure, a car like this is not going to corner like a '69 Camaro, but the ride on them is phenomenal. And yes, I say each one of them is different.
And I think an important point, and I've started to hear people say this at shows, is they go, man, guys designed these things without any computers. They did these things with slide rules and with manual drawing. So that really is an important thing, that these cars, these pre-computer age cars, are not only devoid of any digital electronics, they are all mechanical and all of their ignition systems are electromechanical. They were designed without any help from computers, so it's truly something that came out of someone's head.
Well, I suppose since I was a little boy, I've always liked cars. You know, little boys like everything with wheels on them. And old cars had wheels, and my first car was a Model A Ford, probably in about 1975, I suppose, and enjoyed that for a few years while our children were young, went on some trips and things. And then we took the family to a 4th of July parade over at Franklin, Indiana. And there were some big black cars there. I'd never seen anything like them. They were huge and black and long, and they were sedans, and I just fell in love with them. Well, they were Packards. And I said to myself, someday if I can ever have a car like that, that's my dream come true, is to have a big Packard.
Well, there are collectors that have all levels of knowledge related to cars. There are guys that have just a lot of money and they go out and they hire RM or something to develop an instant collection. And they really don't know anything about cars themselves. They know it's a Packard, it's a Duesenberg, or what it is. But as far as what's right on the car, being able to raise the hood on the 37 Packard 12 and say, that's right, that's wrong, they can't do that. But that's okay, they're preserving the cars, and they're not making them into hot rods or something. And there are guys in the club that drive the cars, and they look like old cars. They look like used cars. That's okay, they're still preserving the cars. There are the guys that just want trailer queens. You know, they want to restore them, and they don't even want to get dust on them, do anything. All they do is drive on a trailer, go to show, and drive off. But again, they're preserving the cars, and that's fine. But there's facets of the hobby. The people that want them perfect and never drive them, people drive them all the time. And then there are people that blend a little of both. I kind of blend a little of both.
You know, one thing about the cars, you meet so many neat people, and you get to see collections that other people never have a chance to see. And it's just a lot of camaraderie that goes with the cars. We've met people from all over the world through the cars.
Yeah.
I was telling the other gentleman about meeting the man in Russia. We were on the Volga River, and we met a man from California, had this common interest in cars. He knew Gene Perkins, and he knew Ed Dalton from here. So here we are in Russia on the Volga River talking to a man from California about car people in Indiana. So it goes all over the world.
The most fun is working on them, bringing them back, making them alive again, because a lot of these cars, most of them, more than half of them had not run in 30 years. They've just been sitting somewhere with flat tires. And so you try to, it's not it's kind of like an artist, and that you make something when you see something that's done. I don't like to play golf. I don't understand. My wife loves it. I do not understand hitting a ball going in a hole, making that. It makes you really feel good. That doesn't do a thing for me. And I want, if I'm going to do something, I want to see when it's done and what all that work. There's something there that you see that think, oh, that's pretty. I did that. You know, it's kind of like it's a painting in a way.
Well, for one thing, it's art. These cars are just, especially these two here and the others that you're going to have at your function, are art. In Kokomo, of course, Kokomo's been an automobile town for years. It's the only town in the whole country that has manufactured cars or car parts for a continuous 126 years. And that, we're going to have a bicentennial here in Kokomo next year, celebrating the automobile. But the people in this area, a lot of them made their livelihood. They've raised their families. They've sent their kids to school because of the automobile. And I think they need to realize where it came from, where it started.
I don't know if it's one memory in particular, but he had a way of turning family excursions to include the cars. So we'd hop in the cars and go to get ice cream, or we'd go to a park for a picnic, or the destination became less important than which old car we would get there in.
If you don't understand where you've been, you can't understand where you're going. And these cars represent different times through our history. They represent the history of our country and how this country was built, maybe more than any other thing that we can collect. And to me, they have reached a level of artwork. You know, one of the things that I think is so wonderful about this car is the patina that it has and the originality of its features. It's almost like sculpture.